Every fantasy world has magic. Some worlds have systems, rules, costs, limitations that make the magic feel real. Some worlds have wonder, power that exists because the story needs it to. Erilea has both, and it has something rarer than either, a magic system that is inseparable from the identity of every person who carries it. Welcome to Crimson Pages. Tonight we're doing a full deep dive into the magic of Erilea, the world of Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass series. This covers books 1 through 3. If you haven't read Heir of Fire yet, there will be a gentle spoiler warning before we get there. Let's begin. Before we talk about magic, we need to talk about the world it lives in. Erilea is a continent with a history of erasure. The current ruling empire, Aelin, banned magic across the entire continent a decade before the story begins. Not just restricted it, banned it, purged it, executed anyone who showed signs of it. This matters because it means that when we meet most of the characters in Throne of Glass, they exist in a world where magic is not just forbidden, it is supposed to be gone. And yet, it isn't. It was never gone. It was only sleeping. The suppression of magic across Erilea is one of the central questions of the series. How was it done? Who did it? And what did it cost the world to have that power taken away? We won't answer all of those questions today, but understanding that the magic was suppressed changes how we read every moment where it starts coming back. Magic in Erilea has two primary sources. The first is Fae heritage. The Fae are the original magical beings of Erilea, ancient, powerful, long-lived in ways that make human lifespans feel like a single candle flame compared to an entire night sky. Pure-blooded Fae carry elemental affinities: fire, wind, water, earth, ice. These aren't just powers they can use, they are part of what the Fae are. A fire Fae doesn't use fire magic the way a human might wave a wand. They are fire, in the way that a river is water, not performing it, but expressing it. Half Fae, those with human blood, inherit something more specific, a gift. Not an elemental affinity exactly, but a singular magical ability that manifests differently in every person who carries it. Some gifts are obviously powerful: healing, elemental control, the ability to move unseen. Some seem small until you understand what they're actually for. All of them come with a cost. That cost is one of the things the series returns to again and again. Magic in Erilea is not free. This is one of the things that makes the system feel real in a way that many fantasy magic systems don't. Using power draws on the user's own reserves. A small working, a simple ward, a healing, might leave a Fae tired for an hour. A large working, something that reshapes reality, holds back a force of nature, burns through an army, can leave a Fae unconscious for days, can, in extreme cases, kill them. For half Fae, the cost is often higher. They carry the power of their Fae heritage without always having the physical endurance to sustain it. A half Fae pushing past their limits doesn't just get tired, they break, and the breaking can be permanent. This is part of why magic suppression across Erilea was so devastating for half Fae specifically. A power that cannot be used doesn't simply sit quietly, it builds, it pressures, it looks for ways out. And a half Fae who has never been trained to use their power has no idea how to contain what lives inside them. Now, the fire. Aelin Ashriver Galathynius carries fire, which sounds simple until you understand where that fire comes from and what it is actually capable of. The fire began with Brannan, the first king of Terrasen, a Fae male who lived in an age when the gods of Erilea were still actively involved in the world they had made. Brannan was chosen by Marla, the fire goddess, the Lightbringer, and gifted with a flame that was not simply elemental, it was sacred, blessed, tied to divine purpose in a way that ordinary elemental fire simply is not. What does sacred fire do that ordinary fire doesn't? It burns things that should not burn, creatures of darkness, demonic entities, weird-touched horrors that conventional weapons cannot permanently destroy. It seals things that cannot otherwise be sealed, gates, rifts, wounds in reality itself. And it carries a warmth that the cold fire of other sources doesn't have, a living quality, as if the fire itself is aware of what it is for. For years, Aelin's fire was locked away, first by a ring, a piece of jewellery that suppressed her magic so completely that she didn't know what she was. Then by her own grief and fear, after she understood what had been taken from her and why. When it comes back, when she finally lets it come back, it does not come quietly. Underneath Fae gifts and sacred fire is something older, something that was not given to any race, but exists in the structure of reality itself, the Wyrd. The Wyrd is not a power you have or don't have, it is the fabric of everything, the force that underlies reality, that connects all worlds, that makes possible things that should not be possible. Word marks are the written language of this force, ancient symbols that when drawn correctly, in the right sequence, with the right intent, can do things that no Fae gift can do. They can bind, they can ward, they can open doors between worlds. They can reach into the space between reality and pull something through. The danger of word marks is that they are not tied to the caster's power level. A human with no Fae blood, no gift, no elemental affinity can use word marks if they know the symbols, which makes them the most democratically dangerous magic in Erilea. Anyone who reads the right book can end the world. 3 objects, 3 fragments, 3 pieces of a gate that should never be opened. The Wyrdkeys are fragments of the Wyrd Gate, the barrier between Erilea's world and everything that exists beyond it. Other worlds, other realities. The spaces between spaces where things live that were never supposed to touch this world. Each key looks like nothing. A piece of dark stone, smooth and unremarkable, unless you can sense what it carries. And what it carries is the concentrated power of the gate it was cut from. Together, the 3 keys can open the Wyrd Gate fully, not a crack, not a window, all the way. And whatever has been pressing against the other side for a very long time would finally be free to come through. The Valg are not from Erilea. They are not from anywhere that has a name in any language currently spoken. They come from the darkness between worlds, a place where what we understand as life does not apply. In their natural form, they cannot exist in Erilea. The world is too bright, too physical, too anchored in reality. They need a vessel, something to wear. Valg possession begins with a collar, a ring of black material from their world, cold in a way that has nothing to do with temperature. The collar goes on, and the Valg enters. What happens next depends on the host. A weak mind, or a mind that has given up, goes quickly. The Valg takes over completely. The person who was there is simply gone. A strong mind fights, can hold on for days, weeks, months, maintaining a thread of self against something that wants to consume it entirely. But fighting costs, and the Valg is patient in a way that humans and Fae are not capable of. It has forever. The host does not. What makes Valg-possessed hosts terrifying in combat is the combination. The host's skills, muscle memory, fighting instincts, all intact. The host's pain tolerance, gone. The host's hesitation, mercy, any impulse towards self-preservation, also gone. You are fighting someone who trained for years and genuinely does not care if they survive the encounter. Spoiler warning for Heir of Fire. If you haven't read Book 3 yet, skip ahead to the outro. Everything before this point was Books 1 and 2 only. In Heir of Fire, we finally see Aelin's magic begin to emerge fully for the first time, and with it comes the understanding that her fire is not just destructive. She trains with Rowan Whitethorn, a Fae warrior and wind singer, whose elemental magic runs opposite to hers: fire and wind, destruction and direction, a combination that the series builds into something far more than two people fighting together. But the more important revelation of Heir of Fire is what Aelin's fire is actually for. It was never just a weapon. Brannon's sacred flame was given to his bloodline for a specific purpose, a purpose that the gods of Erilea set in motion long before Aelin was born. The fire that feels like a gift is also a tool, and tools are made for something. The question Heir of Fire begins to ask, and the series will spend several more books answering, is whether Aelin is the wielder of that tool, or the tool itself. The magic of Erilea is not a system of rules. It is a system of inheritance, of what has been passed down, what has been taken away, what has been hidden, and what refuses to stay hidden no matter how long the Empire tries to bury it. Every gift in Erilea is a question about what the person who carries it is going to do with it. Every cost is a reminder that power does not come free. And the fire that Aelin carries, sacred and ancient and very much alive, is asking a question she hasn't finished answering yet. Next week, the Akatar courts, all 7, the politics, the power structures, and what 50 years under the mountain did to every court in Prythian. Subscribe and tell me, which Erilea gift would you want? I'll see you in the dark.